From defeating the legendary Lyoto Machida and Daniel Cormier to being given a run for his money by Alexander Gustafsson, these are some of the greatest fighters Jon Jones has fought.
Brutal elbow. Big elbows. Trying to finish this fight. Shogun's badly hurt, Mike. John!
Where you can just start unloading big punches right there. And this is the end that you're watching right here.
Oh, he's going to get smushed. This is it. Oh, man. Big elbows.
Starting with the incredible Maurizio Shogun Rua. Yep, no one who knows anything about MMA is confused right now. Rua was the undefeated and undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world back in 2011 when this fight happened. And guys, this man was a beast. I mean, no one really expected him to lose. Sure, he may have been in for a war against the much younger Jones, but the American challenger was just 23 years old. He wasn't supposed to be able to do what he did. Yeah, not only did he beat Shogun, he did with some brutal dominance. And as young as he was, he showed the world why he was the greatest talent MMA had ever seen. And now, in hindsight, when you think about it, Jon did have an 8-inch reach advantage over Shogun. So I guess it's not that surprising that he won, but still, natural gifts alone aren't enough in an MMA battle. No, Jon dominated this man on the feet and the canvas, and he ended the fight in the third round after a brutal ground and pound. Unfortunately, the ground and pound wasn't where it ended. No, Rua got to his feet and then Bones delivered a crushing left hook to the body that broke the champion. Now, as impressive as this win was, it was only the beginning, because in his very next fight, he took on Quinton Rampage Jackson, and again, he was a legendary fighter, and was also an ex-champ.
Is where Jon Jones is great, though, with his Greco-Roman background. He's got some spectacular throws. Another one, that's what I'm talking about. Now he's mixing it up. That's what we need to see. Yep, you want him not to be one.
Yeah, Jon was in for a tough fight, especially since Jackson was known for his insane power. No matter how good Jones was on the ground, he wasn't going to be able to grapple if Rampage caught him with a strike. Despite all of the doubt, Bones stepped up and cemented himself as the king of the division by winning his first title defense. And he did it in style. The young Jones made the veteran fighter Rampage look like an easy fight. He used that freakishly long reach of his to strike from a distance and pick the guy apart. Just by the way, guys, this reach advantage is going to come up again and again, so I'll just clear it up right now. Jon has an insanely long reach of 84.5 inches, and this is one of, if not the longest in the entire UFC. Anyway, not only did Bones outstrike Jackson, but he also out-wrestled the man, and the fight ended via a submission win in round 4. That's 2 finishes in 2 fights, guys. First Shogun, and then Rampage. But as we all know, this was still just the beginning, and what came next was spectacular. Yep, the fight versus Lyoto Machida.
Throw a punch.
Oh!
We faked the kick and threw it. From the time I was young, I always prepared to fight Lyoto Machida. Remember?
Pushing forward again is Machida.
My kickboxing coach Springer John, he said.
Now this fight was also in 2011, and it was Jon's second title defense. And as with all of the guys on this list, Lyoto was a legend of the game, and he wasn't some amateur. Nope, this man was a seasoned veteran, and also one of the greatest fighters to ever step into the octagon. Needless to say, the fans weren't sure of how this fight was gonna go. It was a very real possibility that Machida was going to crush Jon and take the title, but as we all know, that's not at all what happened. Now, Machida was a guy that had never lost via technical submission, so naturally, everyone thought he was going to be the one to solve the Jones puzzle. And during the first round of the fight, it looked like he might. I mean, it was completely even and no one was ahead until Bones opened a nasty gash on Lyoto's face. Yeah, after that, it was all downhill. Jon dominated the guy, and in the very next round delivered one of the most iconic finishes the UFC has ever seen. That deadly standing guillotine that put Machida to sleep. And this was just 2011, guys. The man fought against 3 legendary veterans in the same year while he was 23, and he finished all of them. 2011 wasn't the last time Bones came up against a tough opponent, though. Nope, in 2013, he went up against Gustafsson. And just by the way, before he got to Alexander, Jones made 3 more successful title defenses, and all 3 of the guys that he beat were insanely tough: Rashad Evans, Victor Belfort, and Chael Sonnen. It's insane, but all 3 of these guys are legends, and no one today will deny this. Anyway, after dominantly getting through all of them, the young light heavyweight king came up against a guy from Sweden, Alexander. And, just by the way, the man was an up-and-comer, and no one thought he would give the apparently invincible Jones a challenge. But he proved everyone wrong.
Yes, but in overall strikes, it's Gustafsson.
Nice straight jab by Gustafsson. Much more light on his feet. He bounces around a lot, cuts angles left and right. And another one, he goes up high.
Takedown defense has been perfect for Gustafsson.
And in 2013, at UFC 165, the Swede went toe-to-toe with Bones. Yeah, this was the most hurt John ever looked. His face was battered and purple, and there was a huge gash over one of his eyes. Needless to say, Alexander genuinely almost beat him. Unfortunately, though, for the Swede, Bones dug deep, and despite the damage he took, he was able to outperform his opponent and secure a decision win. Gustafsson was so tough that John was unable to go to the washroom on his own for a while after this fight. That's insane. Again, this wasn't the end of it for Jones. He took on Daniel Cormier in 2015.
He does. I mean, unless he does something really dramatic.
When Jones had to get inside.
Big kick to the body there by DC, and John responds with one.
And once again, DC was supposed to be the guy that finally stopped John. Honestly, I can completely understand it. I mean, the man was an Olympic wrestler, and if anyone was going to beat Jones on the ground, it was going to be him. Unfortunately, John was much bigger, and despite DC's ability to take him down, Jones used that reach advantage to edge out a decision win. DC was by far one of the greatest fighters John ever faced, and their rivalry is one of the most iconic in UFC's history. Still, as great as DC was, he wasn't the toughest fight Jones ever faced. No, there was one who was much tougher. Yeah, I'm talking about Dominic Reyes. Now, Dominic was pretty well established in the division.
Jones attacking that rear leg of Reyes effectively there.
His mouth open, we're seeing the same thing now.
But he was not on the level of Machida or DC, but still, this man gave John the closest fight of his entire career. Yep, he's right up there with Gustafsson. Both of these guys were larger than the others at light heavyweight, and they were able to match John's size and counteract his natural strength. Plus, the reach advantage against these two wasn't as big as with the others. John took him on in his last fight at light heavyweight before he relinquished the title, and Reyes was able to stand toe-to-toe with John, and the legendary Bones wasn't able to dominate anywhere. Plus, the fight was so close, some people thought Reyes took it. Now, these are all guys from his light heavyweight days, but just recently, John added another name to the list of the greatest fighters he's faced. That's right, I'm talking about Cyril Gane. Bon Gammon may have lost at UFC 285, but you've got to remember, he's not nearly as experienced as John. Still, this is the biggest guy that Bones has ever faced, and he's one of the toughest. The man stood atop the heavyweight division, for crying out loud. I mean, he's fought for the title twice now, and he's still at the beginning of his career. This man's going to be one of the top guys at heavyweight for a while, and everyone better take him seriously. Those were the greatest fighters that John Jones has fought.